There's walking into someone's house by accident. There's walking in because the door was open. And then there's what she did unlocking our front door with a master key, stepping into our hallway like she owned the place, and calling it protocol. Meredith Langston, president of the HOA, glossy badge swinging on its lanyard like she was proud of it. She didn't even blink. Not when I found her in the kitchen. Not when I told her the door was locked. Not when I said my house doesn't even have a gas line. I was just checking for compliance, she said, clipboard in hand, voice steady like she was reading from a manual written in Audacity. I didn't scream. I didn't even raise my voice. I just looked her dead in the eye and said, "You triggered 5 silent alerts. Meredith, your GPS logged, time-stamped, and archived. You're not just trespassing. You're documented. My name's Nora Davis, single mom, former cybersecurity analyst." The house. My dad built it with his bare hands in '84. It's not just drywall and plumbing. It's our history. Every corner still breathes him. And Meredith. She tried to walk through it like it was some rental she needed to inspect. But let me tell you how we got here, because it didn't start with a break-in. It started with a note. A printed notice slapped on our mailbox. Violation: garden hose not properly stored. Section 4.2. I laughed. Thought it was funny. Thought someone on the board needed a hobby. My son, Eli, said we should frame it and hang it on the fridge like a passive-aggressive gold star. 3 days later, another one. Unauthorized decorative items. They meant the wind chimes on the porch. The ones my father carved for my mother their first spring here. That one stung. This wasn't about rules. It was about rewriting our memories into infractions. The third violation came fast, parking in our own driveway off alignment. That's when I stopped laughing. I sent an email. Polite. Professional. No reply. Followed up. They said I misinterpreted the tone. Apparently your vehicle will be towed without further notice. Is up for interpretation. That's when we started documenting everything. Scanned the notices, installed extra cameras. Eli rerouted the entire network through a private VPN. He's 16. Smarter than I ever was. You can't hack HOA stupidity. I told him once. He smiled. You don't have to, you just log it. And then came the break-in. I came home early. Client canceled. Roads were clear. As I pulled into the driveway, my phone pinged motion sensor alert. Back door. I froze. Eli was supposed to be at school. I walked in, heart racing, and there she was, Meredith, standing in my kitchen, reading the handwritten recipe my mom had mounted over the stove. No apology, no explanation. Just this cold-blooded, "Your door was unlocked." It wasn't. She muttered something about gas line inspection. "My stove's electric," I said. She didn't care. Just walked past me like I was the one intruding. That night, Eli and I sat under the magnolia tree planted by my dad on my parents' 25th anniversary. The swing creaked as we leaned back, Eli's head against the same wood my father had sanded decades ago. "They're pushing us," he said. "Not because they have a reason, because they think they can." I nodded. My chest felt tight, my jaw locked. "We're not moving," I said. He grinned. "Then let's make them regret trying." By morning, every camera in the house backed up to 3 cloud drives, one under my name, one under his, and one under an old consulting alias of mine. Redundant, encrypted, legal. We caught everything. Footage of Meredith unlocking the back door, walking in like she lived there, pausing to smirk at the family photos. My heart thudded in my chest as I watched it. We didn't send it to a lawyer, not yet. HOAs don't play fair, they spin facts into process. I've seen companies fire whistleblowers while praising transparency. This wasn't just about evidence, it was about timing. We stayed quiet, watched, logged. Then came the next escalation, a new notice violation. Tree roots infringing on sidewalk property. They meant the magnolia, the tree that hadn't moved an inch in 15 years. The photo they sent blurry, tilted to exaggerate the shadow. And in the background, half hidden, a woman, arms folded, silent, still. Denise Keller. She used to be my mom's friend. Ran the community garden walk with her. I didn't even know she was still on the board. She's the HOA secretary now, Eli whispered. I leaned in. You think she knows? I think, he said. She doesn't want to be seen knowing. And that hit me harder than any notice. Because sometimes silence isn't loyalty, it's fear. 2 days later, a bright yellow zip tie tag showed up on the porch swing, item to be removed by end of week or fines will be issued. Section 5.3. I almost ripped it off, but Eli stopped me. Leave it. Let them keep documenting their stupidity. That night, I opened the old cedar chest under the stairs. My dad's fortress of folders, deeds, blueprints, taxes. Tucked behind a manila envelope was a 1983 easement agreement specifying protected personal property boundaries. It included the swing. It made the notices not just wrong, but illegal. And then, something else. A locked metal box, glued under the old shelf in the garage. Inside a USB drive, and a notebook. The first page, keypad override codes, Meredith's master key ID, entry timestamps. But there were gaps days she entered that weren't in HOA logs. She'd been sneaking in, and someone was covering it up. We planned carefully, neighbor, Clark. Confirmed, Meredith entered our home last spring. No notice. 10 minutes, he said it softly, nervously, then walked away like the truth burned in his throat. The next day, Denise came by, quietly. Clipboard, clutched like a shield. She didn't say much. Just handed me old HOA amendments my dad had saved. She lingered, then whispered, "Be careful." But when the others looked from their porches, she stepped back, eyes apologetic. Hands clenched. She turned and walked away, shoulders tight with shame. She wanted to speak, but the fear was louder. That night, Eli whispered they're scared, but not of us, of being seen choosing the wrong side. The trap was set. We organized a community meeting. Eli built a slideshow. Denise slipped us 3 proxy votes. Neighbors trickled in, faces stiff, arms folded. Some wore smug looks. Some wore fear. And a few just watched, like bystanders on a train that might crash. At the front, Meredith stood tall, clipboard ready, smirk polished like armor. Until Eli hit play. First, Clark's statement, then Marisol's, then the footage. Meredith, entering our home. No notice, no knock, silence. Then Denise stood. I wrote the last notice, she said, and I saw what they did. I'm voting no. Someone gasped. Meredith's smile died. This isn't personal. I added, it's precedent. No one clapped. But something shifted. Allen, the chairperson, called for recess. The lawyer stood. An audit begins immediately. Meredith. She sat frozen, nails digging into her paper. No more smirk, no more lies, just silence. And from the crowd, the shift was slow, uncertain. Some avoided eye contact, some turned away. But one woman she'd mocked our tree a week ago came over after the vote. I didn't know, she whispered. I thought it was just rules. Rules weaponized are still weapons. Denise leaned over. You didn't just fight for your house. You made them look in the mirror, Bob. The audit passed. Unanimous. New lock rules. Transparent access logs. Meredith suspended. Neighbors brought over pie the next evening. Eli grilled steaks. We repainted the old bench under the magnolia tree. The wood was weathered, but it held, like us. The next board meeting, no yelling, no drama. Just dry policy reviews. And the quiet, nervous glances of people learning how to be better. Because sometimes justice doesn't roar. Sometimes it creaks gently on an old porch swing. But here's the thing. The audit found only Meredith's violations. Others walked away clean. Some of the board claimed they had no idea. And Denise, she stepped down, said she needed time. So, did we win or just survive? You tell me.